We all come from different walks of life. We all have different interests, hobbies, stories, families, etc. But we all have one thing in common, and that's that we're all college students. And across college campuses throughout the United States, there's a growing problem regarding the access to food for underprivileged students. Every night, college students across the United States are going to bed hungry, not knowing where their next meal is coming from. Now, due to costly meal plan prices, along with the rising costs of housing and tuition, access to food is not a guarantee for all students. Now, as somebody who's not financially privileged, and somebody who experienced firsthand the difficulty of food insecurity during their first semester of college, I feel like I'm the right man to persuade you on my proposed policy of putting a stop to food insecurity across college campuses. The growing rate of college students who suffer food insecurity poses a serious threat to the health and well-being of students across the United States. The main problem is that across college campuses throughout the country, almost half of all students are going to bed hungry every night. My plan to help combat this issue is to develop a policy that requires all colleges to provide information and access and resources to underprivileged students who can't afford the high cost for meal plans. This plan should help cure this problem by providing low-cost food options to students. Like any big proposal, this plan would not come cheap, but the long-term benefits should outweigh the costs. The main problem is that across the country, college students are going to bed hungry every night. According to an article published by Grace Tatter of the Harvard Graduate School of Education's official website, up to half of the nation's college students might struggle with food insecurity, meaning that they don't have access to food. This problem is nationwide in all colleges, whether it be community, 4-year, 2-year, private, or public. The exact effects of food insecurity are unknown, but it's commonly believed that not eating consistently leads to the obvious health risks like lack of sleep, malnutrition, lack of concentration, loss of energy, etc. It also has a severe impact on one's mental health. These then lead to impact performance in the classroom, like lack of attention, poor grades, and overall low graduation rates. Studies show that those who had a GPA 3.1% or higher were 60% less likely to suffer from food insecurity. Harvard grad professor Anthony Jack, who has written numerous essays regarding the issue of food insecurity, discovered two different types of food insecurity that focus predominantly on low-income undergrad students. The first is doubly advantaged, which refers to students who came into college from an under-resourced public high school. The second is privileged poor, who attended private or preparatory schools but are still less fortunate than most. Now, according to Jack, what you find in community colleges and state colleges and other places is chronic food insecurity, where not knowing where your next meal is coming from is more an everyday reality. But there's another type of food insecurity prevalent on campuses, which is what he refers to as episodic. Even on well-resourced campuses with dining halls, lower-income students often struggle to feed themselves over vacations, notably shorter vacations like Thanksgiving and spring break, when most dining halls and dorms are often closed. According to an article written by Shannon Lee for affordablecollegesonline.org, college food insecurity has been growing rapidly over the past 10 years. They listed numerous jarring facts and figures regarding the extent of the issue. Students suffering food insecurity are more likely to come from a minority background, suffered food insecurity as a child, and were enrolled in an undergrad program but suspended their education briefly due to financial constraints. A late 2017 study of more than 30,000 college students found that approximately half of 2-year and 4-year students are food insecure. Now that you have a better understanding of the issue of food insecurity, it's time to go over my proposed plan to help fix this problem. My plan to help combat this issue is to develop a policy that requires all colleges to provide information and resources to underprivileged students who can't afford the cost of meals. According to the aforementioned website, affordablecollegesonline.org, colleges across the United States have already taken steps to help disadvantaged students struggling with food insecurity. My proposal is to set up a strict set of guidelines and regulations to ensure that colleges are following this plan. Most colleges offer meal plans, most of which are required for all freshmen, but many less fortunate students can't afford the prices of these plans. Even the cheapest plan can be upwards of $2,000 a semester. But the students that do have meal plans tend to not use up all of their allotted swipes or points, leading to hundreds of thousands of meals across college campuses going to waste every year. My plan would require all colleges to implement a plan where those meal dollars can be donated and sold to underprivileged students at a cheaper cost. My plan would also require all colleges to implement monthly check-ins with every student to make sure that they're doing well with food supply and their overall health, along with requiring all colleges to have a food pantry accessible along with other student support centers to provide healthy food options for students that need it. Another plan is to develop a partnership between SNAPs and financial aid services that would give underprivileged students an option to collect monthly aid, essentially food stamps, to help students who qualify for assistance. According to the USDA's official website, most students are not eligible for SNAP's assistance. While it's not necessary to give students the same amount that families of 4 or 5 may need, it is important students should be eligible to receive enough every month to afford groceries, if they qualify. My plan would include a section of the FAFSA that takes how much financial assistance a student needs, and then give that student the option to also accept a monthly amount of food stamps to help the student pay for groceries every month. Now, like all new policies, the plan will not be perfect, but should be a start in the fight against food insecurity. Now, my proposed policy should play a key role in curing the problem of food insecurity. The most important part about my proposed plan is that it should play a pivotal role in curing food insecurity. According to their website, the College and University Food Bank Alliance is a professional organization of campus-based programs focused on alleviating food insecurity, hunger, and poverty among college students across the United States. They have helped implement thousands of food banks across campuses nationwide and are one of the main organizations fighting food insecurity. Now, despite nearly 30% of all students suffering food insecurity, a plan that guarantees access to affordable food options for underprivileged students would be a pivotal step to fixing the problem. According to the National Center for Education and Statistics, there are around 20 million college students enrolled in the United States. If 30% of those students are food insecure, that comes out to nearly 700,000 students. My proposal should help decrease that number by hundreds of thousands over the first 5 years of its implementation. Now, the way to cure food insecurity will definitely not come cheap. Like all nationwide policies, my plan will not come at a cheap cost, but the potential benefits should outweigh the costs and help the overall health of hundreds of thousands of students. According to Fox Business, the average American spends roughly $175 to $345 a month on groceries. This number would likely be way less considering college students tend to buy the cheaper off-brand items to cut costs. If roughly 700,000 college students are insecure, then my plan to distribute food stamps of $125 a month would cost around $87 million a month. Now, whether this is a practical plan is to be determined, but if it works out the way it's supposed to, it should be well worth it. Now, compared to what SNAPS distributes to the average low-income person, which is around $135 a month, this number is considerably less than that of the average low-income individual. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, the number of people participating in SNAPS has been in the decline. In 2018, almost 7 million fewer people were using the program than that in 2013. This is just one example of the benefits that the program gives. Now, the cost of my plan may be high, but the overall benefits of it should certainly outweigh the costs. It's important for every college student to be guaranteed a meal every day. Their overall mental health and academic performance is of the utmost importance. The growing rate of college students who suffer food insecurity poses a serious threat to the health and well-being of college students across the United States. The main problem is that across colleges throughout the United States, almost half of all students are going to bed hungry every night. My plan to help combat this issue is to develop a policy that requires all colleges to provide information and resources to underprivileged students who can't afford the high cost for meals. This plan should help cure this problem by providing low-cost food options to students. Now, like any big proposal, this plan would not come cheap, but the long-term benefits should outweigh the costs. We must work together to ensure that food insecurity doesn't grow and continue to cripple our pursuit of a higher education. Because remember, we're all college students, and we need to work together to help each other achieve our dreams. Thank you.